Not many tennis players can boast that one of their matches changed tennis scoring forever. Despite that, there have been quite a number of matches that left the entire world speechless. There was the match between Kevin Anderson and John Isner in 2018. Then in 2010, John Isner and Nicolas Mahut battled it out on the court for an astonishing 11 hours and 5 minutes over 3 days. Next, there was the 2019 Wimbledon match between Federer and Djokovic, as well as the Federer vs Roddick Wimbledon final that ended 16-14. There is something unique about each of these matches I just mentioned, but only one match changed tennis scoring forever. Which do you think it was, and why? Y'all better sit tight and get ready for an adrenaline rush, because this is going to be a wild one. But first, quiz time. Before the standard rectangular shape, what was the original shape of tennis courts? Was it A, a circle, B, a diamond, C, a hexagon, D, an hourglass? The correct answer will be revealed at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And hey, don't be shy, hit us up with your guesses in the comments. We'll reply to as many of them as we can. And as always, if this video serves up some tennis joy, volley that like button and backhand a subscribe for more ace-worthy tennis content like this. Tennis has quite a long yet interesting history that started back in 1873. A game so simple yet so deep. It was all about playing the best points, not about who was stronger or faster. Tennis was a game of skill, strategy, and most importantly, scoring points in a way that no other sport did. But have you ever wondered why tennis scores the way it does? Or how one match changed a century-old tradition? In the heart of tennis's design was the idea of winning by two, whether in games or sets. This brought us the deuce, a rule that focuses on competition and fairness in tennis. Winning 2 consecutive points to secure a game made tennis not just a physical battle, but also a mental one. But as challenging and beautiful as this was, over time, things started to change. From 1874 to 1969, tennis had a simple rule for its sets: win by 2. Scores like 12-10 were not uncommon, making matches unpredictable and thrilling. Then, in 1970, something new was introduced: the 6-6 tiebreaker. This change was meant to keep the spirit of tennis alive while adapting to modern times. Matches could still be long and challenging, but now there was a way to prevent them from going on forever. This balance between tradition and innovation gave us some of the most unforgettable matches in tennis history, like the Federer vs Roddick Wimbledon final that ended 16-14. But why fix something that wasn't broken? Over the years, tennis saw more and more changes to its scoring system. We moved from traditional scoring experiments with 10-point tiebreakers, no ad scoring, and even sets that only went up to 4 games. Each change chipped away at the classic, enduring essence of tennis. It made you wonder, was tennis losing its soul? Let's find out. The turning point came in 2019 at Wimbledon. A match between Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic introduced a 12-12 tiebreak in the final set, a rule change that arguably altered the outcome of the match. This moment sparked a debate. Was the pursuit of convenience robbing tennis of its legendary matches? But what exactly was the rule change, you ask? Well, in the historic 2019 Wimbledon final, a groundbreaking rule was introduced, changing the game's landscape. For the first time at the All England club, a tiebreak at 12-12 in the final set was used to decide a Grand Slam men's singles championship between Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. This rule change came after the marathon match between Kevin Anderson and John Isner in 2018, which ended 26-24 in the final set, highlighting the need for a way to conclude matches more decisively. The decision aimed to balance the tradition of enduring contests with the practicality of scheduling and player welfare. Djokovic won the match, described as his mentally most demanding victory, marking a significant moment in tennis history. In response to these rapid changes, the USA Tennis Tour, USATT, was born. It was a return to the roots, embracing the traditional win by 2 sets and the deuce rule. The USATT represented a stand against the tide, a belief that the original ways of playing tennis were worth preserving. It was about respecting the game, the players, and the effort they put in to each match. Traditional scoring aimed to keep the spirit of competition alive. But what does all this mean for tennis? On one hand, changes in scoring were meant to make the game more accessible and exciting for a broader audience. On the other, they risked losing the very essence of what made tennis great: It's a delicate balance between preserving the past and embracing the future, which I find quite thought-provoking. In the world of sports, few events have the power to change the rules of the game. But in 2010, a tennis match at Wimbledon did just that. Two athletes, John Isner and Nicolas Mahut, battling it out on the court for an astonishing 11 hours and 5 minutes over 3 days. This was a marathon that pushed both players to their limits and beyond. It was actually the longest tennis match in history, and it showed the intense physical and mental demands of tennis for everyone to see. In my view, this epic match is a perfect illustration of why the traditional scoring system in tennis is so respected. The US ATT champions this classic approach because it builds mental toughness, endurance, and the ability to stay strong in long matches. Examples like the over 4-hour battle between Chase Parker and Marvin Colley highlight the drama and excitement that traditional scoring can provide. Quick side note here, I hope you haven't forgotten about our trivia question. Make sure to keep watching, the answer will be revealed at the end. And hint, the answer is not B, a diamond. Isner vs Mahut's match showed everyone the extremes of where the game could go. On court 18 as they played into the ninth, the scoreboard broke at 47-47 in the 5th set, unable to keep up with the players. They served over 100 aces each and kept the match going until Isner finally won 70-68 in the final set. This was tennis unlike anything we'd seen before. It's unheard of. But this match actually did a lot more than break records. It prompted tennis authorities to rethink the scoring system to prevent such exhaustive encounters. For example, did you know that the Australian Open introduced a super tiebreak, and Wimbledon now uses a tiebreak if the final set reaches 12-12? These changes aim to preserve the spirit of competition while acknowledging the physical realities of the sport. Yet, the introduction of these new rules sparks debate. Is the shift away from traditional scoring a loss for tennis or a needed change? The US ATT's commitment to the traditional scoring system is a nod to the past, honoring the hard work and dedication of players. The longest match in tennis history that we just discussed was a moment that forever changed how tennis was played. Whether you like it or not, it challenged the status quo and led to new rules that balanced tradition with the well-being of players. As tennis continues to evolve, finding the right balance between preserving the essence of the game and adapting to new challenges remains a central question. As we look at the evolution of tennis scoring, from the birth of the deuce rule to the introduction of tiebreakers and the creation of US ATT, we see society's changing values right before our eyes. The challenge of preserving tradition while seeking innovation, and the search for fairness and excitement in sports. In the end, tennis is more than just a game of hitting a ball back and forth. Whether through the classic scoring of the past or the evolving rules of today, tennis continues to captivate and challenge us in unique ways. And perhaps that's the true beauty of this sport, its ability to adapt and endure, much like the players who play its courts. Now let's circle back to our trivia question. Before the standard rectangular shape, what was the original shape of tennis courts? Well, here's the answer. Hourglass-shaped. The modern-day rectangular shape of tennis courts was not standard until 1877, before which they were hourglass-shaped. In the 1800s, tennis courts were shaped like an hourglass, not rectangle. This unique shape was because Major Walter Wingfield wanted to patent his version of tennis. Since he couldn't patent the already popular rectangular court, he made a new shape in 1873. This design helped him sell his game as something special. But by 1877, people preferred the rectangular courts we use now. Wingfield is still known as an important figure in tennis history for his early contributions to the game. Take a peek at our other videos. And that, my friends, is game, set, and match for this episode of Glam Slam Tennis. Thanks for watching.